Okay, this is an unboxing of the lights known as the Beamlite 72s, otherwise known as the eBay LED film lights, as some people refer to them. I purchased them from a company called Camtree, which sent them out of India, and they arrived yesterday. I bought 4 of them. This is actually just 2 of them right here in these boxes. These are the lights and the stands. So let's go ahead and take them open and check them out. Okay, let's take a look at the stands first. Open up the box here. So notice the first thing you see is this canvas carry bag for the stands. 2 handles as well as a shoulder strap. And when you open it up, it's actually an enclosed pouch, so it zips to make it easier for storing. But you open it up, have the Velcro strap, and then 2 stands in this bag for the 2 lights that come in that box. So let's take one of these stands out and take a look at it. My blade. So these light stands they seem actually like really good quality. They're heavier than the other stands I'm used to. The top mount where the lights lock onto seems better construction. My other light stands that I've had go from sort of a light aluminum to a solid steel, whereas this seems a lot stronger. There's not a tiny little bolt holding the head on. It seems connected all the way down through. These are plastic knobs, but they seem higher quality, and just by the weight of it you can tell it's higher quality. And just to give a comparison, my other light stands that I have, you can see the head, how different that is. Now it does have a thread, which sometimes comes in handy for mounting a recording device or something, but if I can loosen this here, you see that that little tiny screw is mounting this bracket onto there. And this is a very thin piece of, I believe, aluminum. So as you put things on here, I've already lost maybe 2 of these stands because this slowly wears down until that screw just can't hold that upper piece and it breaks off, warps all this metal, it breaks off, and then they're unusable. So big advantage of these light stands, it's a solid piece, solid construction. They're also much taller than my light stands. Obviously, we're on a close-up. I'm not going to be able to show you all the length, but these look like they extend to a good, between the 2 sections. You know, that may very well extend once you get the legs out. That's probably a 8-foot height you can get that up to, maybe 9 foot. So really happy with the light stands. You know, probably not the most expensive, but certainly far better than others I've purchased in the past, especially online. So let's take a look at the lights now. So you open this up, you'll notice our first case with the light, and there's another one. Let's just worry about this first one, since we're going to be, they're the same light. So it's a square case, again, has 2 handles for carrying that way, or it has a shoulder strap that can be pulled off and carried that way. And let's go ahead and open it up. So you open the pouch up, you have your instruction manual, some basic instructions on the light. Not a whole lot, but basically tells how to set it up and gives some specifications on it, lifespan, how much wattage it uses, useful things like that if you wanted to have more detailed information on it. Under that we have the filters, gel filters. So this is a nice addition. Normally you have to buy these separate. Looks like it comes with a simple diffuse, no color change on that. Another diffuse with more of a texture. It'd be interesting to see how that changes the light output, or if it does much at all. And then finally a sort of tungsten. These lights put out daylight temperature, and so you add this onto the light and you'll get more of a indoor tungsten light temperature. So we'll take a look at that. So removing the filters out of the way, we get to the light itself. So you notice the foam is cut to fit the light. It's a little bit warped, pushes a little bit out on the edges, but it's probably better than loose. It keeps it nice and snug because it's pressing harder on the edges. So we'll pull that out. The light has a frame sort of attachment, so you could angle it and tighten down, you know, if you want to bounce the light up or down, get a hair light, different things like that. It'll be useful. And very solid construction. That's probably a 1/4 inch right there, steel, so I don't picture this thing bending or warping over time, like again, like some of the other products I've used. You have the 4 barn doors here. Another protective layer to take it off, and there's your 72 LEDs. So that's your light source right there. Obviously you could close it down and block it off, but that is the essentially that's looking at what you paid for right there. On the back side, there's a few nice features. There's a battery plate, so if you want to purchase the optional battery accessories, you can use these remotely without having to use the DC input. You have a brightness toggle, and this actually works really well. I had another set of LED lights that seemed like they took the brightness from about 100% down to about 70%, whereas this is much better. It gives you a more full range of control, and we'll take a look at that. On and off switch, fuse to replace if you need to do that, and then the input for the cords, which are included at the bottom. You have a Toshiba power pack, which plugs into the back of the light and connects here to plug this into the wall. And they also include, it's not needed for myself, but they include a universal adapter, so you know if you're in a European country or something, you can plug into their wall. So again, just another nice thing added. I don't get much use out of it, but who cares? It came with the light. So let's take a look at these lights, plug them in, and see how they do. So the light, pretty simple standard attachment. Loosen the screw, set it on the head, and then retighten the screw. And again, depending on how tight you do it, can have some wiggle or not. And loosening these side ones will allow the light to pivot to any angle that you'd like to put it at. So let's go ahead and lock it down. Okay, let's go ahead and plug in the light now. I'm going to loosen this slightly to pivot it around. So again, we have, oh, another thing, this is the flood version. So the bulbs on the LED can have different style of bulbs. So you can get this exact same light in a spotlight version. They have a mid version. This is the flood, so the most essentially spray. It's going to get the widest range. So the only difference will be the glass on the bulbs, how it outputs the light. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're ordering. Make sure you get the version that you want. So that says it right there, the flood. So let's go ahead and plug this light in. So now to turn it on, simply flip it right here. We're at about mid power, and you can see the light bouncing on the wall. Go all the way down to 0, or the lowest you can go on the power, and you still see we're still getting light. And as I make sure you guys can see this, as I go from the least amount of power, mid power, full brightness there, you can really see the difference from high to low. It's still probably, in my opinion, you know, it goes from maybe 30% to 100%. but still much better than other LEDs I've seen. That's one difficulty with LED, is controlling output. Since there's so little flow of electricity, it's hard to control such a small amount, but these seems like they've done a pretty good job at allowing a good range of brightness on the light. You really wouldn't ever need less than that in most applications. So let's turn this up and take a look at the front of the light. And again, we'll go from, this is full, all the way down to the lowest amount and all the way back up. So a really good light. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the gels affect the light. So we got this nice little carry book to carry the gels in. Let's take this first one. I'll come over here. Actually just has a nice little groove in the metal right on the bottom and along the top, and a little opening right here. So you literally just slide it right in. You know, no screws or anything. That's one of the diffuse gels on it. Does a little bit, not as much as I would expect, but that's that first gel. Slide it right back out. Go ahead and try the second one that has the texture on it. Slide that in. Again, not much. In fact, I think the previous one probably had more of a diffuse effect. More sanded surface. This has that texture, but it's still very clear. So not a lot of a diffuse on that. And finally, we'll look at the tungsten filter to get that indoor daylight color. So you can see that gives it that orange tint. And I'm looking at the color temperature in the room, and it's definitely changed. Let's give you guys a look. You can see the wall color there as it bounces off that white wall. And then we'll slide the filter out and see how it changes. Much whiter color. So again, all around, I'm so far really happy with the light. Solid construction. I love the stands. Obviously the LED, these don't get hot. You know, I can touch it anywhere on the casing and not going to burn myself. No need for leather gloves or anything. Nice barn doors, come in their own cases, easy to transport. So for all those reasons, I really like the lights. It's worth taking a look at if you're looking into LED lights and using those on your film applications.